Hey guys, it's your boy, Mr. Elf Harry, and I want to talk and take a deep dive with you into the Bible, the Holy Bible, because indeed the Bible and Jesus is a very real truth. But I've been reading mainly the Matthew, Mark and Luke and John over and over and over again, and really assimilating Jesus' message on deeper and deeper levels. And I found something in the actual Gospel of Matthew 3 times that would upset a lot of Christians, but it's the truth, and I'm going to run it through. And if you guys have a Bible with you, please open the page to Matthew 11, Matthew 11:1, because I'm going to read with you from the words of Jesus himself, confirmation that we don't just live one life, as a lot of Christians think, because the Bible actually tells you 3 times, this is how much I've read it, that it just came to me, and Jesus' words, God's words, Jesus' words, that Jesus is saying in the Bible reincarnation is real, because one of the prophets, who I won't name yet, is a reincarnation of another prophet. So, check this out. So we all know the story of John the Baptist. He was the one that paved the way before Jesus. It was prophesied that a man would come to pave the way for Jesus from another prophet, Elijah. And John the Baptist was there baptizing people and making the way for Jesus, and I believe it was Jesus' cousin. So here we go. In Jesus' own words, I'm going to run it through you. Like I said, Matthew 11. Really think and be open-minded here, because it's Jesus himself saying this. Now it came to pass, when Jesus finished commanding his 12 disciples, he departed from them to teach and preach in the cities. And when John the Baptist had heard imprisoned about the works of Christ, he sent 2 disciples and said to him, "Are you the coming one, or do we look for another?" Jesus answered and said to them, "Go and tell John the things which you hear and see. The blind see and the lame walk, the lepers are cleansed and the deaf hear. The dead are raised up and the poor have the gospel preached them. And blessed he is not offended because of me." As they departed, Jesus began to say to the multitudes concerning John, "What did you go out into the wilderness to see? A reed shaken by the wind? But what did you go out to see? A man clothed in soft garments? Indeed, those who wear soft clothing are in kings' houses. But what did you go out to see? A prophet? Yes, I say to you, and more than a prophet. For this is he of whom it is written, 'Behold, I send my messenger before your face, who prepare your way before you.'" I think that's the prophet Elijah that said that about John the Baptist. And here we're coming up to the nuggets, where confirmation number 1, reincarnation. Keep your mind open and listen to the truth. "Assuredly, I say to you, among those born of women, there has not risen one greater," this is Jesus' words, "Assuredly, I say to you, among those born of women, there has not been risen one greater than John the Baptist. But he who is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he. And from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffers violence, and the violent take it by force." Now really listen, okay? "For all the laws and prophets prophesied until John," and here's the key, "and if you are willing to receive it, he is Elijah who is to come. He who has ears to hear, let him hear." I'll read that again. He's bigging up John the Baptist, Jesus, and he goes, "And if you are willing to receive it," and Christians aren't, "he is Elijah who is to come. He who has ears to hear, let him hear." John the Baptist is a reincarnation of Elijah from Jesus' mouth. Now, Jesus says it himself. Let's carry on. Let's go to Matthew 17. Jesus transfigured on the mount. This is now Jesus and God telling you again about reincarnation, and specifically John the Baptist being reincarnation of Elijah. Crazy. So listen, Matthew 17, open your Bible. Jesus transfigured on the mount. Now after 6 days, Jesus took Peter, James and John, his brother, led them up, so he led the disciples, 3 of them, up on a high mountain by themselves, and he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became as white as the light. And behold, Moses and Elijah appeared to them, talking with him. So you've got Jesus, Moses, Elijah appeared in God form to the disciples. Then Peter answered and said to Jesus, "Lord, it is good for us to be here if you wish. If you wish, let us make these 3 tabernacles, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." While he was still speaking, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and suddenly a voice came out of the cloud, saying, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear him." And when the disciples heard it, they fell on their faces and were greatly afraid. But Jesus came and touched them and said, "Arise and do not be afraid." When they had lifted up their eyes, they saw no one but Jesus only. Now as they came down from the mountain, Jesus commanded them, saying, "Tell the vision to no one until the Son of Man is risen from the dead." And his disciples asked him, here's the key part, and his disciples asked him, saying, "Why then do the scribes say that Elijah must come first?" And Jesus answered and said to them, "Indeed, Elijah is coming first and will restore all things. But I say to you that Elijah has come already, and they did not know him, but did to him whatever they wished. Likewise, the Son of Man is about to suffer at their hands." Then the next bit says, "Then the disciples understood that he spoke to them about John the Baptist." I'll read that bit again. Jesus answered and said to them, because they said to him, "Why then do the scribes say that Elijah must come first?" And Jesus says, "Indeed, Elijah is coming first and will restore things. But I say to you that Elijah has come already," John the Baptist, "and they did not know him, but did to him whatever they wished," because John the Baptist got killed and beheaded for his beliefs in Jesus. "Likewise, the Son of Man is about to suffer at their hands." And it literally says here, "Then the disciples understood that he spoke to them not of Elijah, but of John the Baptist." And there's another reference in Matthew 14, when John the Baptist is arrested and King Herod refers to him as being risen from the dead before he's been beheaded, because he's Elijah that's come back to life in reincarnation form. Sorry if I upset people, but let me meditate deeply on this. Our God is all loving, all knowing, and all forgiving, and all kind and unconditional love. Does it really make sense, and meditate on this, that we'd have one shot and one life to get it done here, to go back to unconditional love? Or that we go into eternal hell? Because there is truths to eternal heaven and hell. Does it really make sense we get one shot? When you're a parent and you love your kid and they make a mistake, how many chances do you give them to correct them? You give them one chance and that's it? Do you give them many chances over many lifetimes? In this earth school, which is coming back to unconditional love, it's very hard to get to that final level of unconditional love, which is why we repeat over and over and over again. And all people here reincarnated, especially those coming to the highest form of unconditional love, the consciousness of Christ. So I say to you, reread chapter Matthew 11, Matthew 17, and Matthew 14, all the beginning ones. And really, undeniably, Jesus said, for all those who are ready to receive, hear me. John the Baptist is Elijah to come. Elijah to come is John the Baptist. And God says, hear my son. And then he says, he's already come. Elijah's already come. And he's died for humanity, John the Baptist. And then the disciples knew he was talking about John the Baptist. And God said, hear him. It was one of the most important messages in the Bible. God said, hear him, hear Jesus. Jesus is telling disciples, John the Baptist, the reincarnation of Elijah. That's how important it is. And God said, hear him. And Christianity, a lot of it has got lost in this idea of one life. And it's not true. It's not true. Be open-minded. Past lives are an actual fact. Children remember their past lives. And it's not demonic. You have an all-loving God. He loves you so much, he'll give you chance after chance, and we grow and grow with reincarnation until we come back home to unconditional love.